Jaya Caitanya, Jaya Nityananda, Jaya Advaita Chandra, Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda, Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya, Jaya Nityananda, Jaya Advaita Chandra, Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda, Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya, Jaya Nityananda, Jaya Advaita Chandra, Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. So we are continuing with Sri Chaitanya Charitamrta, Adi Lila, chapter 4, verse number 31. Dharmachari rage dunhe karaye milana, kabu mile kabu na mile daiva raghatana. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Pure attachment will unite us even at the expense of moral and religious duties or dharma. Destiny will sometimes bring us together and sometimes separate us. Purport. The gopis came out to meet Krishna in the dead of night when they heard the sound of his flute. Srila Rupa Goswami has accordingly composed a nice verse. See Adi Lila, chapter 5, verse 2 to 4. That describes the beautiful boy called Govinda standing by the bank of the Yamuna with his flute to his lips in the shining moonlight. Those who want to enjoy life in the materialistic way of society, friendship, and love should not go to the Yamuna to see the form of Govinda. The sound of Lord Krishna's flute is so sweet that it has made the gopis forget all about their relationships with their kinsmen and flee to Krishna in the dead of night. By leaving home in that way, the gopis transgressed the Vedic regulations of household life. This indicates that when natural feelings of love for Krishna become fully manifest, a devotee can neglect conventional social rules and regulations. In the material world, we are situated in designative positions only, but pure devotional service begins when one is freed from all designations. When love for Krishna is awakened, the designative positions are overcome. The spontaneous attraction of Sri Krishna for his dearest parts and parcels generates an enthusiasm that obliges Sri Krishna and the gopis to meet together. To celebrate this transcendental enthusiasm, there is need of a sentiment of separation between the lover and beloved. In the condition of material tribulation, no one wants the pangs of separation. But in the transcendental form, the very same separation, being absolute in its nature, strengthens the ties of love and enhances the desire of the lover and beloved to meet. The period of separation, evaluated transcendentally, is more relishable than the actual meeting, which lacks the feelings of increasing anticipation because the lover and beloved are both present. Translation once again. Pure attachment will unite us even at the expense of moral and religious duties or dharma. Destiny will sometimes bring us together and sometimes separate us. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. So we are continuing with this very beautiful chapter. And here we see the union with Krishna is possible only through pure attachment, not adulterated attachment, and pure loving devotional service. So we see that the gopis, they were fully attracted to Krishna. And they were so much in love, pure love for him, that they left their families, their work, their duties, their children, whatever it may be, everything they left as soon as they heard the flute of Krishna. And as soon as they heard that sound of the flute, they forgot everything and forgot everyone else. Their only focus, they only wanted to see Krishna. They wanted to be with him. They were not worried about what the society is going to say, what in-laws will say, or parents will say, or spouse will say. No, they had no fear at all. They were not worried what the Vrajavasis would say. That look at them in the dead of the night, they are running towards Krishna as soon as they hear the sound of the flute. Who would not get attracted to this beautiful Krishna? Srila Prabhupada explains so nicely in the purport about this beautiful bluish boy who's known as Govinda. We have heard about Krishna, how he's dressed so beautifully in yellow silk garments with beautiful ornaments and a peacock feather, and he's playing on his flute. In fact, how fortunate is the flute, because the flute is able to touch the lips of the Supreme Lord. And Krishna is holding the flute in his own hands and he's playing on that flute. So just the sound of the flute was enough for the gopis to forget everything else. So in the dead of the night, they went to see Krishna. Now the question may arise, why did they go? Did they want to enjoy? No, they wanted to give pleasure to Krishna. They did not go with the idea like in the material world, there is exploitation. Everyone is thinking, what can I get out of from someone else? What's in it for me? How can I enjoy? How can so-and-so give me enjoyment? But here it was the other way around. The gopis only wanted to please Krishna. They only wanted to satisfy Krishna. And Srila Prabhupada in the purport, he talks about, those who are in the material world, who are not fully Krishna conscious, or those who are very materialistic, they should not go to a near river Yamuna. They should not even, in fact, go to Vrindavan, because Vrindavan is the holy dham. And those who are not in knowledge about how to live in Vrindavan, they should not go to Vrindavan, because they can commit offenses. And those offenses can be very, the result of those offenses can be very grave. But here we see gopis, their love for Krishna, it's unmatched. Very, very high level. Their surrender is complete. It's not 10%, 20, 15, 90%. No, it is 100%. And the only goal is how to satisfy, how to please Krishna. And so they are not worried about anyone else. It's not that they don't do their duties or, they are neglectful as far as their family is concerned. No. But they know that Krishna is the center of their lives. Their love, here in this verse, it says their love is fully manifest. And that's why they are above rules and regulations. And this is possible only when there is pure love. You see, they are not worried about designations. In material world, we are situated in designated positions. The very first designation we have is, I am this body. I am a woman. I am a man. I am white. I am black. I am Indian. I am this. I am that. Or I am the CEO. I am the manager. All these designations. So we are situated in designated positions. And Prabhupada says this we can overcome very easily when we start loving Krishna in pure form. Not just love him, but pure love for him. And Rupa Goswami, he talks about, spontaneous love for Krishna, spontaneous attraction. Gopis had that. Their love was spontaneous. And they both were enthusiastic. Krishna and the gopis both were enthusiastic to meet each other. And Srila Prabhupada says in the purport that such spontaneous attraction, it generates enthusiasm. That means they become more enthusiastic to meet each other. And this enthusiasm brings together Krishna and the gopis. So we have seen in the material world, there is separation. No one likes separation, especially in the material world. No one likes to be separated from their loved ones. Whether it's a spouse or children, if they have to go somewhere because of work or whatever the reason may be. Separation is not appreciated in material world, but in spiritual life, separation is necessary. This is what Srila Prabhupada says. And that separation, can help in increasing the love. Just like most of us, we are initiated and we are separated from our spiritual master. We don't see him every day in physical presence. But that separation is necessary to increase our devotion towards him, to increase our surrender towards him. And if we meditate on his instructions, when we follow his instructions, then there's no separation. Because there is no difference between spiritual master and his instructions. But in the material world, separation is not appreciated at all. No one likes to be separated from their loved ones. But in spiritual life, separation strengthens the love. And it is more relishable. Now one may say, how can separation be relishable? Because there's anticipation of the next meeting. When are we going to meet again? Just like we used to wait the whole year before COVID, we used to wait the whole year in anticipation of having darshan of the spiritual master here in Atlanta, right? So that anticipation also helps one in purification, in increasing the love. Krishna in this verse is saying destiny will bring us together and sometimes separate us. I remember hearing this nice analogy that, our lives is like a straw in the stream or in the river. You know how so many straws are there and they're all, being taken, by the current of the river or whatever it may be, the stream. And these straws, because of the stream, they sometimes meet and then after some time they separate. Straws come together and then they go their own way. That is what life is. We come into this world, we meet someone, and after death, then we separate. So this is a very, very beautiful verse. Let's see what is there in next verse, number 32. Ei sab rasa niryasa kariba aswada, ei dware kariba saba bhaktere prasada. Translation. I shall taste the essence of all these rasas, and in this way I shall favor all the devotees. So here we can see an exchange in appreciation. He's saying, I shall favor all the devotees. We heard this in Bhagavad Gita. Ye yatha mam prabandhate tamstateva bhajamiham. As one surrenders unto Krishna, he rewards them accordingly. So here also we see, depending on one's surrender, there is reward. So Krishna, he is relishing the love of Srimati Radharani and the gopis. And in Madhurya Ras, here is talking about essence of all these rasas. The rasa between Krishna and Srimati Radharani, Krishna and the gopis is Madhurya Ras. And if we, read this verse very carefully, we can see that we can also get the favor of Krishna if we develop that pure love for him. And Srila Prabhupada has given us the process. He's given us the knowledge. He's given us pure devotees, temples. He's given us festivals, books, everything. So all we have to do is just follow this path of Krishna consciousness seriously, and then we can advance. We are very fortunate that we have chosen this path of Krishna consciousness. No one has forced us. All of you who are here on Zoom and on Facebook, has anyone put a gun on your head and say, you must attend this lecture today, otherwise I'm going to shoot you? No, no one is forced to come into this path of Krishna consciousness. We have chosen it ourselves. And we can develop that pure love for Krishna when Krishna sees our sincerity, and then he will shower his mercy. And if Guru is pleased, then Krishna is automatically pleased. And then we can receive the mercy of both of them, Guru and Krishna. Verse number 33. Brajira nirmala raga shuni bhaktagana raga marge bhajayena chari dharma karma. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Then, by hearing about the pure love of the residents of Braja, devotees will worship me on the path of spontaneous love, abandoning all rituals of religiosity and fruitive activity. Purport. Many realized souls such as Raghunath Das Goswami and King Kulashekara have recommended with great emphasis that one develop this spontaneous love of Godhead even at the risk of transgressing all the traditional codes of morality and religiosity. Sri Raghunath Das Goswami, one of the 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan, has written in his prayers called the Manaha Shiksha that one should simply worship Radha and Krishna with all attention. Na dharmam, shruti gana niruktam kilakuru. One should not be much interested in performing Vedic rituals or simply following rules and regulations. King Kulashekara has written similarly in his book Mukunda Mala Stotra number 5. Nastha dharmina vasu nichaye naiva kamopabhoge yad bhavyam tad bhavatu bhagavan purva karmanurupam etad prarthayam mamam bahumatam janma janmantare api tvad padam ruhyu gagata nischala bhaktir astu. I have no attraction for performing religious rituals or holding any earthly kingdom. I do not care for sense enjoyments. Let them appear and disappear in accordance with my previous deeds. My only desire is to be fixed in devotional service to the lotus feet of the Lord, even though I may continue to take birth here, life after life. So you see, this verse is giving an indication on how to develop pure love. Krishna Katha. Krishna Katha is the only way. The more we hear, the more we get attracted to Krishna. Shravanam. That's why Prahlad Maharaji says, first Shravanam, then Kirtanam. First we hear, then we chant. So just by hearing about Krishna and Gopis' love for each other, all the pastimes of Krishna, we can advance spiritually just by hearing. But not just by hearing, but attentive hearing. Because when we hear attentively, then we would have that sincere desire to worship Krishna also with all our hearts. With all our hearts, that means we really want to worship Krishna, sincerely trying to be fully Krishna conscious. And we can see from Srila Prabhupada's purpose that the acharyas, they recommend spontaneous love. They are motivating us, inspiring us to come to that level of spontaneous love. We may think, that it is in our hands to reach that stage of spontaneous love. No, without the mercy of Guru and Krishna, it is not possible. So all we have to do is hear attentively, chant attentively, worship the Supreme Lord, with full attention, and, just make Krishna the focus of our lives, the goal of our lives. And chanting the Mahamantra, there's no difference between the holy name and Krishna, not different, it's the same. So instead of hearing the purport, Srila Prabhupada saying, instead of wasting time in rituals, rules and regulations, many times I hear, some may say that, oh, how are you performing the arti? You did not, move the agarbatti, the incense 5 times up, 3 times down, 3 times down. These are the rules. No, we don't have to. If we get so bogged down, I'm not saying we should not follow the rules and regulations. We should follow them, but we should not become fanatic about it and not waste time. Focus on the worship, focus on how we can develop love for the Supreme Lord and not get entangled in the rules, not get attached to these rules. And Srila Prabhupada mentions a very important point. Of course, all his purports have important points, but here he's talking about Sri Raghunath Das Goswami's Manaha Shiksha. What is Manaha Shiksha that Raghunath Das Goswami has compiled? Those are splendid instructions on the mind. It's about the mind, Manaha, mind. It's actually a guidebook which was written hundreds of years ago. And it gives us step-by-step guidance to awaken our spontaneous love for Krishna. And it goes very deep. It goes very deep into the heart and the consciousness. So this book is very, very important. It actually helps one to remove, false and pretentious behavior. It helps in reviving our pure love for Krishna. So this Manaha Shiksha by Raghunath Das Goswami, it has laid down a systematic procedure, how to get complete absorption in Krishna's pastimes. Krishna's pastimes are there. They are there in the Srimad Bhagavatam. We have read, we have heard Srimad Bhagavatam, but here Manaha Shiksha teaches us how to systematically get absorbed. And he very beautifully uses poetry also, just to help us to reach that spontaneous level, spontaneous love for Krishna. It will also help us to understand our true identity, to understand our spiritual essence. What are we looking for? In fact, in Nectar of Instruction, Srila Rupa Goswami, he tells us what to do. But in Manaha Shiksha, Raghunath Das Goswami, he tells us how to do it. So in that, what to do, here, how to do. In this purport that we just read, Srila Prabhupada also talks about King Kula Shekhara. We've heard beautiful prayers of King Kula Shekhara, right? The very last paragraph says, I have no attraction for performing religious rituals or holding any earthly kingdom. I do not care for sense enjoyments. Let them appear and disappear in accordance with my previous deeds. My only desire is to be fixed in devotional service to the lotus feet of the Lord, even though I may continue to take birth here life after life. So what is his only desire? To be fixed in devotional service to Krishna. That's about it. That's his goal. My only desire. And he's saying, even though I may continue to take birth again and again and again. Srila Prabhupada tells us that devotees, they do not worry what will happen after death. They leave that to Krishna. Let Krishna decide where this spirit soul is going to go after death. It's going to come back into this material world or go back to Godhead or wherever. Krishna decides. So our goal only should be that we focus on becoming fully Krishna conscious if we still haven't done that. Verse number 34. Anugrahaya bhaktanam manusham deham ashritaha bhajate tad rishihi krida yaha shrutva tadparo bhavet. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Krishna manifests his eternal human-like form and performs his pastimes to show mercy to the devotees. Having heard such pastimes, one should engage in service to him. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. This text is from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 33, verse 36. The Supreme Personality of Godhead has innumerable expansions of his transcendental form who eternally exist in the spiritual world. This material world is only a perverted reflection of the spiritual world, where everything is manifested without inebriety. There, everything is in its original existence, free from the domination of time. Time cannot deteriorate or interfere with the conditions in the spiritual world where different manifestations of the Supreme Personality of Godhead are the recipients of the worship of different living entities in their constitutional spiritual positions. In the spiritual world, all existence is unadulterated goodness. The goodness found in the material world is contaminated by the modes of passion and ignorance. The saying that the human form of life is the best position for devotional service has its special significance because only in this form can a living entity revive his eternal relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The human form is considered the highest state in the cycle of the species of life in the material world. If one takes advantage of this highest kind of material form, one can regain his position of devotional service to the Lord. Incarnations of the Supreme Personality of Godhead appear in all the species of life, although this is inconceivable to the human brain. The Lord's pastimes are differentiated according to the appreciating capacity of the different types of bodies of the living entities. The Supreme Lord bestows the most merciful benediction upon human society when he appears in his human form. It is then that humanity gets the opportunity to engage in different kinds of eternal service to the Lord. Special natural appreciation of the descriptions of a particular pastime of Godhead indicates the constitutional position of a living entity. Adoration, servitorship, friendship, parental affection, and conjugal love are the 5 primary relationships with Krishna. The highest perfectional stage of the conjugal relationship, enriched by many sentiments, gives the maximum relishable mellow to the devotee. The Lord appears in different incarnations as a fish, tortoise, and boar, as Parashuram, Lord Ram, Buddha, and so on, to reciprocate the different appreciations of living entities in different stages of evolution. The conjugal relationship of amorous love called Parakiya Ras is the unparalleled perfection of love exhibited by Lord Krishna and his devotees. A class of so-called devotees known as Sahajiyas try to imitate the Lord's pastimes, although they have no understanding of the amorous love in his expansions of pleasure potency. Their superficial imitation can create havoc on the path for the advancement of one's spiritual relationship with the Lord. Material sexual indulgence can never be equated with spiritual love, which is in unadulterated goodness. The activities of the Sahajiya simply lower one deeper into the material contamination of the senses and mind. Krishna's transcendental pastimes display eternal servitorship to Adhokshaja, the Supreme Lord, who is beyond all conception through material senses. Materialistic conditioned souls do not understand the transcendental exchanges of love, but they like to indulge in sense gratification in the name of devotional service. The activities of the Supreme Lord can never be understood by irresponsible persons who think the pastimes of Radha and Krishna to be ordinary affairs. The rasa dance is arranged by Krishna's internal potency, Yogamaya, and it is beyond the grasp of the materially affected person. Trying to throw mud into transcendence with their perversity, the Sahajiyas misinterpret the sayings Tat Paratvena Nirmalam and Tat Paro Bhavet. By misinterpreting Tadrishi Krida, they want to indulge in sex while pretending to imitate Lord Krishna. But one must actually understand the imports of the words through the intelligence of the authorized Goswamis. Srila Narottam Das Thakur, in his prayers to the Goswamis, has explained his inability to understand such spiritual affairs. Rupa Raghunatha Pade Haibe Akuti Kabe Hama Bujhaba Se Yugala Priti. When I shall be eager to understand the literature given by the Goswamis. Then I shall be able to understand the transcendental love affairs of Radha and Krishna. In other words, unless one is trained under the disciplic succession of the Goswamis, one cannot understand Radha and Krishna. The conditioned souls are naturally averse to understanding the spiritual existence of the Lord. And if they try to know the transcendental nature of the Lord's pastimes while they remain absorbed in materialism, they are sure to blunder like the Sahajiyas. What a beautiful explanation by Srila Prabhupada. Now the question may arise, why does Krishna perform his pastimes? Very simple, to show us mercy. Because when he performs pastimes, then we hear about those pastimes and we get attracted towards him. And then once there is attraction, then we start engaging in devotional service to him. And Srila Prabhupada says that human form is the best form for devotional service. Why? Because we have philosophical intelligence. We can understand, we can contemplate, and we can meditate, and we can follow the instructions. Because only in this human form of life, we get the opportunity to revive our relationship with Krishna. It's a very, very rare form. Srila Prabhupada also talks about it in the purport that this human form is very rare. So if one takes the advantage of this human form of life and regains the position, that means we were previously in the spiritual world. We are parts of the Supreme Lord. And right now we are in the material world. So we have the opportunity to regain our position, to rebuild our relationship with Krishna. So in fact, in Srimad Bhagavatam, we have heard so many incarnations of Krishna. Even in the purport, Srila Prabhupada talks about the fish incarnation, the tortoise incarnation, the boar incarnation, his incarnation as Lord Ramachandra. See? So there are different incarnations, and they're according to time, place, and circumstance. They could be, incarnation is called avatar, so it could be Yuga avatar, Lila avatar, Guna avatar, Shaktavesh avatar, so many different incarnations. And all these incarnations is very good to hear. Of course, it's going to be difficult to understand. It's beyond our conception. That is why Srila Prabhupada says we must accept authority of all the acharyas who are coming down in the strict disciplic succession in the parampara. We need their mercy to understand, and they will shower their mercy upon us when they see our sincere endeavor to understand Krishna, sincere endeavor to perform devotional service to Krishna. So Krishna coming to this earthly planet is for our benefit, so that we can hear, we can, understand and, try to become fully Krishna conscious. In the Bhagavad Gita, we've heard, why does Krishna come here to the earthly planet? Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya dushkritam. He comes to protect his devotees, and he comes to annihilate the miscreants. He also comes to reciprocate with his devotees. So developing that pure love for Krishna, of course, it can be done in any of the 5 main rasas that Srila Prabhupada also talks about. Shantaras, Dasyaras, Sakyaras, Vatsalyaras, Madhuryaras. These are the principal rasas. So one can love Krishna in any of those, but Madhurya ras is the topmost rasa of all these. Of course, as per Srila Prabhupada's purport, we can see that those who are atheists or those who are sahajiyas, they cannot understand. One needs a lot of piety to have access to Krishna consciousness. One has to have performed a lot of pious deeds in the past to get this opportunity to hear Krishna Katha. So we all are very, very fortunate that we have been given this opportunity to be in the strict bona fide disciplic succession. We can learn from these acharyas the essence of the scriptures. But as Prabhupada mentions in the purport, one needs to be trained. Only then one can understand what is the relationship between Krishna and Radharani. What is the relationship between Krishna and the gopis? As conditioned souls, it's not possible to understand. It's not even possible to appreciate Krishna's pastimes. So we are very, very thankful to Srila Prabhupada. He went through so many tribulations just to give us a simple process of Krishna consciousness. All we have to do is chant attentively, follow the 4 rules, eat only Krishna Prasadam, do some seva, do some service, read Srila Prabhupada's books, and give this knowledge to others. It's very, very simple and it's so sweet. It is not harmful to the body. It is not agitating. No, it is a very, very enlivening process. Srila Prabhupada, because of his special mercy, he has shown us how to develop spontaneous love for Krishna. All it requires is to be completely focused, to sincerely try very hard to chant attentively. Once we do that, everything else will start falling in place. So these are very, very beautiful verses of Sri Caitanya Charitamrta, which we can see that, it's giving us knowledge on how we can improve our sadhana, improve our spiritual activities that we perform on a daily basis, and somehow or the other rebuild that connection with Krishna. So these are very, very beautiful verses, and I'm going to stop here now. We'll finish only till verse number 34. So if anyone has any questions.